Welcome to the first edition of our Monkey Knife Fight picks at Fantasy Sports Inside live on our YouTube channel. So I want you to be on the lookout for more of these. I'm going to go over my three favorite plays covering across MLB and golf today, and just some other plays that you can potentially look out for in the future. If you have not ever played Monkey Knife Fight, you can use our deposit code FSI when you deposit, and then shoot us a message, and we have some free stuff for you. So, and with that, there's a ton of DFS today with MLB coming back. You can check out our page. We have a $50 VIP month deal that gets you access to every sport that is available for DFS. We have core plays for every slate, and our coaches are there to provide feedback for your lineups. If you have 1v1 questions, 2v2, that is what we pride ourselves on, are being available for our subs. So make sure you go over to our website at fsidfs.com. The link is below. Make sure you subscribe to this channel so you know every day when we post DFS content and Monkey Knife Fight picks. So let's get into it. I am going to share my screen. If you are new to Monkey Knife Fight, it is a prop daily fantasy game. I've taken a slight hiatus when the sports were kind of down. They did have some esports, and now soccer has been one that we are getting back into as well. It is down at the moment. They had some issues yesterday with canceling some contests that players were actually starting. So if you are new to this, I would click new game. We are going to start in the Yankees-Nationals game, the first one, with Gerrit Cole against Max Scherzer. I think the general consensus, and I have to agree with it too, that I think the pitchers are definitely at an advantage here. Going to have a lot of simulated bullpens, and just they're going to be more ready than these hitters to see this type of pitching. And you have two of the best pitchers in the league on the mound in the first night. So just that trend is going to push me to the unders on a lot of the hitters in this type of game. I do one tip that I would say to you, especially with strikeout props, they will change really quickly. So right when the next MLB game is posted, make sure that you are looking at those lines right away. If it's something that you like, you need to lock it in. You have 30 minutes to decide if you want to cancel it. That is the difficult part, because you have to make that decision. But I do think there is a lot of live props that you can find out there to see and match up with to see where the pitchers are at. So this morning when I checked, Scherzer at 8.5 and Gerrit Cole at 7.5 is the Vegas lines for those pitchers. I think the slight juice is on the under on Scherzer, and there is some juice on the over on Gerrit Cole. So this is kind of a pass for me. It's too close, especially when we're only getting 2.5x. Hopefully we will see this turn up to 3x, meaning if you bet $100, you play $100 on this 2 for 2 more for less, you would get 250 in return. I would like to see that be at that 3x, but this is what we can work with. So one thing with Monkey Knife Fight, if you are new, make sure you scroll all the way over, click show more contests. This will give you a lot more to work with. And now I will probably do a how to just navigate the website today. I really want to focus on our picks. And then at the end, we'll get to our golf. And if you're a GPP or cash player, you can do either or here. You can really go for a 4 for 4, 5 for 5, whatever you want. I'm going to be mainly sticking to 2 for 3s, 2 for 2s, maybe a couple 3 for 3s. All right, so as I mentioned here, we do have the home run derby. You're predicting one home run and you get 1.5x. So that's not really a great return on investment for me for having to predict a home run, at least in this type of game where obviously the pitching is going to stand out. The over-under is only 7.5. So I'm going to go to this more or less fantasy points. Now, if you're not familiar with the fantasy point scoring, it is basically a hit is 1, a run is 1, an RBI is 1. Everything is worth 1 except for if you hit a double, it's worth 2, triple 3, home run 4. So I think the lines of 2.5 in games that we think that the pitchers are going to do really well in are pretty high. You know, if Trey Turner goes 1 for 4 with a hit and a run, he's under. If he goes 1 for 4 with a hit, steal, and a run, then he's over. But I just don't think that you can confidently put invest money on the overs here for these guys. I think there is going to be some other spots that we like better for this. But I would go under for both of these players. And also, we're not 100% sure if DJ LeMahieu is going to play yet. I hope he is, because he's in some of these props that I like. But if it does not start, you are not out any money. They will just cancel the contest. Some other ones that I like here. Adam Eaton, I think, is a lifetime 1 for 5 against Gerrit Cole in the regular season. So I do think +1 hits or walks. I think I like the under there for Eaton. Gleyber Torres is pretty close. But again, in a matchup that I think is an advantage to the pitcher, I would go under on 1.5 total bases as well. So you can kind of see this trend. This one I will skip. I would go under on Judge on hits and walks. You know, I think he maybe hits a solo shot, but I don't think he gets on base a ton. But this one here is probably what I like best. Adam Eaton, even though I like the under on his hits plus walks, I think he has a better chance at getting on base, or potentially, I don't know, getting a stolen base. Maybe he would, I don't know, I think he's just more active at the plate. Eric Thames is a career 2 for 14 with 8 strikeouts against Gerrit Cole, and we are giving the tiebreaker to Adam Eaton. And then the other side of this matchup, I think it's pretty much a coin flip between these two. So this one, I would take the advantage in DJ LeMahieu. So I like the tiebreakers here. Usually if I like both the tiebreakers, or I think they're actually favored and they're getting the tiebreaker, that seems like a plus EV play for me in the long run. And then 3 for 3, if I go back to if you're going back to the unders on Trey Turner and DJ LeMahieu, and then you add in someone like Eric Thames, that is an automatic under for me. This is a nice one where you can do 3 for 3 and get 4x your money. So if you put 50 to win 500. Now 200. Now what I would look out for, as these props will change throughout the day, and there's no guarantee what I'm showing you now will be there when you're watching it. But Eric Thames, any Eric Thames props, you want to slam the under on those props, and that would be probably my favorite thing to do here. So let's move on to the next game here. This one has a little bit more appeal to me. Right here, this is probably my favorite play. I think Cody Bellinger will get on base at least twice. I think Dubon is going to probably be hitting low in the order. And with that, a matchup with Clayton Kershaw is not one that is going to suit him well. So I would definitely go under on 1.5 total bases. Another one here, similar. I like Mookie Betts getting on base twice. Yastrzemski is actually better against lefties, surprisingly. I think he hit like 329 last year against lefties. But again, I would still give the big edge here to Kershaw in a lefty-on-lefty matchup. Similar here, I think Yastrzemski is an easy under in the fantasy point department. Jock Peterson is probably closer to a 50-50. I don't really know how high he's going to be hitting the order with this lineup. I think he still is somewhere in the top 5 or 6. Just depends on how things roll out. But I would probably lean over on him just against Cueto. I don't think that it's a great matchup. One thing to notice, here's the strikeout props. In the books, I am seeing Kershaw live at 5.5, and I'm seeing Cueto live at 2.5. So 2.5 would show me that I think that 3.5 might be a little bit too high. And we just don't really know how teams are going to approach the pitching. Is Kershaw only going to pitch 5 innings and then get hooked? I think Cueto has less of a leash in a really difficult matchup. And also one thing to notice or remember that the NL will not have pitchers hitting. So that does not buy them a free strikeout as it normally would for these NL pitchers. So I'm hoping to see some higher NL pitching strikeout lines that we can hit the unders on, because they are losing out on that free strikeout that they would normally get. So if I was playing, I don't like Kershaw enough either side, but I would go definitely under on Cueto. And then I would probably lean over on Kershaw, but I do think that line is really sharp. 5.5 is probably right where it should be. If you're looking for something more GPP here, and you have everybody 2.5 fantasy points, that one's a little bit more difficult. I think you would maybe want to look maybe towards a rapid fire like this, where I think Kershaw will have 3 more strikeouts than Cueto. I think that I would take the tiebreakers in almost all these scenarios. I just think it gives you an edge in long-term expected value. But again, 4 for 8x, I would prefer it to be a little bit higher. So I do think we see some of these odds jump up throughout the day. But my favorite plays here, like I said, are in these 2 for 2s. Another one here, I think Pence is under on hits plus walks. I don't think I would be projecting any of these giant hitters to get 2 hits or a hit plus a walk against Kershaw here. Granted, will 1 or 2 do it? Yes. But I do think just taking that stance on betting against these giant hitters and then betting the overs on the Dodger hitters would be, I think a route that will net you a profit in the long term. Because do remember, say you put $100 on this more for less for 2.5 and you get, so say you put $100, we go under, over, you're gonna get $250 in return. So say that you do that on this one and then you do it on another one. So now you've invested $200. If you win one of them, you get $250 in return, so you profited 50. If you lose them both, you lose 200. If you win them both, now you're up 300. So I do think I like that perspective, is playing 2 of them gives you a chance at least hedging and making some profit, while also if it's a correlated play here where I'm taking the unders on the Giants and overs on the Dodgers, I think that can really bode well long term. Just like stacking in DraftKings or FanDuel, I think you can stack your philosophy on the game or your perspective on what players you think will do well based on the pitching matchups and things like that. All right, our last spot is going to be in golf. And golf is really fun on Monkey Knife Fight. There's a lot of different ways to play it. I think paying attention to the weather, paying attention to how the course is playing throughout the day, because what you'll see Monkey Knife Fight does here is every 10 minutes these props will change, and you'll have another opportunity to find a prop that you like, or a set of props. Sorry, this is a daily fantasy. This is not just prop betting. So just be careful here. You probably actually won't have time by the time you watch this, but you want to make sure you're on round 1. The 3M Open is a super easy course. And today's weather is like perfect. I did pull up last year's leaderboard, and you will see that the winner, Matthew Wolff, was 21 under, DeChambeau 20 under, Morikawa 20 under. So the score, the course is just bleeding birdies and there's eagles. So this course does have 2 drivable par 4s. It has 3 really easy par 5s that will have eagle chances for golfers. So I think this is the exact opposite of what we saw last week, especially on Sunday. So you'll notice that you'll see a lot of these props at 67.5. Now this is a par 71 course, so they would need to shoot 4 under or better to cover these lines. And I'll be honest, any of these elite golfers, I would say under. Koepka didn't play all that well last year. I think his rounds were 67, 72, 67, 72, or somewhere in the 70s range. So he might have a little bit more volatility. I love Fleetwood here. In this rapid fire, if you're going to do a rapid fire here, just know that the tiebreaker is actually the player that does not have the plus 0.5, because you are looking for the least amount of strokes. So this is saying if they both shoot a 36 or whatever the number is, so say Koepka, or sorry, not 36, say 67. Well, Fleetwood then actually shot a 67.5, and the winner would be Koepka at shooting a 67. So the tiebreakers are going to the guys here on the bottom. This is not one that I like, but we can do that. Fantasy points. Here you can attack. This one's a little bit harder because I do like attacking the over on someone like Dustin Johnson. Koepka's a little bit closer, but 26.5 fantasy points. So in order for them to cover that, they would need 5 birdies and 1 bogey. 5 birdies and 2 bogeys would be at 26 fantasy points. Now, if you figure in anybody hits an eagle, then you could subtract 1 birdie. You know, they could go 4 birdies, an eagle, and 2 bogeys. So they definitely need birdies if you're going to hit this over 26.5, which does make me think somebody like Paul Casey, who might be just a little bit less aggressive and not as birdie happy, that might be a good spot to hit the under. I think also if you just look ahead and see, you think that the next day the weather might be worse, that it's a time that you can, if the lines haven't really changed a lot, maybe try to take advantage of that. But what I do like, probably one of my favorite plays, and I'm going to go to show more contest. One of my favorite plays here is Bubba Watson and Eric Van Rooyen, I think. Again, we're not talking about the elite golfers here, but this course is super easy and we're getting an extra stroke. So these guys both need to end their round today at 3 under, which I think is very possible. They should for sure birdie all 3 of the par 5s, if not those 2 drivable par 4s, and then mix in a couple other birdies. You're looking at 6-7 birdies, and now you have yourself an easy cover at 68.5. Another one that I like here, if I can find the rapid fire in fantasy points. I really like Dustin Johnson here getting the tiebreaker against Brooks Koepka. And on the other side, I think I like Matthew Wolff, even though he's not getting the tiebreaker. I just think we're going to see more birdies out of him in his style, even though Paul Casey is getting the tiebreaker. So that is where I'm at today. I think golf is actually a spot you could make some GPP plays. If you just go to their strokes and you think, obviously there's a chance that one of them doesn't do well. So maybe 5 for 5 is a little bit bold, but here at the 4 for 4, we're getting 10x. I think you could easily take under less strokes on all these guys. Throw down $50 and you're getting $500 in return. So 10x is really nice. The rapid fire is when you go 4 for 4, 5 for 5s. Though there's just a lot more volatility to me. I like to correlate like easy course, pushing everybody under, hard course, pushing everybody over, or bad weather, or whatever you have it. I do really like this 4 for 4 for what it's worth. Going Fleetwood, Finau, DJ, and Glover. I think that this is certainly viable too. And we may see, in the past, we have seen pars or better. Like you might have 14.5 pars or birdies in these prop lines for these contests. Right now, we're only seeing strokes and fantasy points. So that is all we have to work with. But be on the lookout for more picks tomorrow, potentially. If not, just over the next few days. We'll have a ton of content for baseball now coming back on our website. We still are going to have soccer every day. Gator is just crushing it with free content for everybody. And we have golf, we have esports, everything you can imagine. So hop over to our website at fantasysportsinsight.com. That's FSIDFS.com. Get our VIP deal for $50 a month, $50 this month. It gets you all the sports for the entire month. The best deal we're probably ever going to offer. And if you are going to sign up for Monkey Knife Fight for the first time, use the deposit code FSI, and then you will get some free content, probably a free month or something like that at our site. Just hit us up when you do that. All right. Thanks a lot.